All right, so we're learning the Sikha from the Rebbe on Parshas Nitzavim, and it is Chelik Daled. Chelik Daled. And it's talking about what does it mean the Jews are all standing, and that God is putting us through this covenant. It's sort of the same topic we just finished learning, but it's a little bit and more from a different sort of angle. And so it said that God made this covenant with the Jewish people, and not only that, he made the Jewish people that they are all responsible one for the other. They're all responsible one for the other. He made this, what's it called, the arevut, that each Jew is responsible for every other Jew. So the Rebbe says, how could it possibly be? I mean, usually if one person is responsible for the other, it means the one who takes the responsibility, he's more reliable, or he is more powerful, or he has more money, and he can be a guarantor for somebody else, right? Like I said, if I go into a bank and I say I want to take out $1 million loan, and they say, who's your guarantor? And I say the person who's collecting money, like the poor person with the charity box in front of you, that's sitting on the street over there, they won't accept it. Of course they won't. If he comes in and wants the $1 million loan, and I'm his guarantor, and I'm a millionaire, then they'll accept it. So how can it be that every Jew is a guarantor for every other Jew, right? There's some Jews that are higher than other Jews and not. So this is not so. Every Jew has some sort of a good quality that nobody else has. And because of that, and they're all receiving one from the other and giving one from the other. And that is why all the Jews can be standing. So they're all standing together, they like one big body. And now he's coming to explain the Alter Rebbe, the first Rebbe Chabad. He explains that you are all standing today. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem. So it says, the Rebbe says, and he brings from a sentence it's a sentence in Zota Bracha. I think I made a mistake yesterday. I said it was from Hazinu, but it's not. It's from Zota Bracha, and it says, Vayhi b'Yeshua melech b'yitasef Roshei Am Yachad Shiftei Yisrael Yachad. It says the Jewish people are nitzavim, they're Yachad. They're standing Yachad, and the Alter Rebbe adds, there's Yachad Mu'uchadim Ke'echad. The Jewish people are together, unified as one. So the Rebbe said, what is this? What is this? This shows something about the Jewish people. So it says one thing, the Jewish people are together. Yachad, they're together. What does it mean together? They're all Jews. They're all together. We're in this world together. We have the same name. We're all called Jews, all together. What does it mean? Me'uchadim. Me'uchadim means that we have the same purpose. We have the same purpose. The Jewish people have the same purpose, and that we have the same goal. He said, but that's okay. But if the goal is holding us together, so as soon as it's achieved, so everybody sort of leaves. Everybody gets what they want individually, so they leave. Then there's what's called ke'echad, like one. What does it mean, one? That the Jewish people are like one big body, and just like every part of the body contributes something unique that no other part of the body has, also every Jew has something unique, and that's what it means the Jews are really one. And that's where we got up to last time, the unity of the Jewish people. Where did we get up to? We got up to here. Oh, yeah, we did this. Okay. So this is, what does the Rebbe want to stress to us? The Rebbe wants to stress to us, what exactly is the Jewish people? This is a very big mystery. And it's a big mystery that people don't really talk about. And just take an example. We talked about this before. There's sort of like this big question that nobody really asks about the Holocaust. And that is, why in the world did he pick the Jews? What the Germans, what do they got against the Jews? What is this thing, anti-Semitism? So there's all these books written about it, but nobody really comes to like a clear reason, clear thing. What is this thing, anti-Semitism? What's going on over here? Why do people hate the Jews? So the most recent, how do you say, ambitious effort to get rid of anti-Semitism was Zionism. Zionism said, listen, we're not going to be Jews anymore. We're not going to be Jews. We're going to be Israelis. We're not going to be Jews. We're going to get rid of this stigma of Judaism, and there's not going to be any God and no more Torah, no more commandments, and no more this. We're just going to get rid of all this business, and we're going to be people. And we're going to have an army. We're going to have the government. And, okay, we can have our past. The Romans had their Iliad, or what is it, the Greeks, Iliad and the Odyssey, and they had have their different books. So we'll also have our book, but we'll get rid of the whole thing. But it didn't work. It just doesn't work. That people just, no matter what we do, now people have two reasons to hate us, because we're Jews, because we're Zionists. So it didn't work. They thought it would get rid of it. We'll just be like, like Frenchmen, and we'll be like, like Englishmen, and then we'll just intermarry, and everything will be just okay. There won't be any more anti-Semitism. But the fact is, you can't get rid of anti-Semitism, because anti-Semitism is the connection of the people hate Jews because they hate God. And the connection of the Jews to God is infinite. Like God is infinite. You can't get rid of God. If you get rid of God, you got rid of the whole world. Right? The God is the creator of the universe. You can't get rid of God. Right? Make a new God. It's like, the Christians say that their whole religion comes from the Torah, but they're getting rid of the Torah. They got a new Torah. So they cut the whole thing up, right? The whole basis of their whole religion, which the whole thing is a big lie anyway, the whole basis of the whole thing is the Torah. They say it's the Torah. And then they just change the Torah. We got a new Torah. So it's the same thing. You can't, the basis of the Jewish people is God. You can't have Jewish people without God. You can't just cut out God and say, we'll just be Jews without God. Right? It doesn't make any sense. So you can't, but if you start looking at it a little bit deeper, you see that it's much more wonderful and complicated, and not how they want to call it complicated and let's see, harmonious than you could possibly imagine. And that's the idea of the Jewish people, that each and every Jew is connected to each and every other Jew. Not just the word together, but yachad. We're Jews. That's it. Okay, we can't get rid of it. So we got one thing together. We're Jews. And not just that we have a common goal, right? Our common goal. And our common goal, and we're all working for the same goal. But even more, that each and every one, let's see, can we this? Yes. It says, just being unified, it means a unified from a lot of different things, the Jewish people. But the fact of the matter is, and the real thing is, that the Jewish people are one. It's like one big body. The farbun, the unification of the limbs of a person is not just the fact that a person happens to be all together, or that all the limbs are all connected one to the other, but rather that it's one thing. It's one thing. It's not a bunch of separate things stuck together. Because every limb with all of its details is just a part of the person, the mensch. And in sich kein eingenommen. There's no other one. There's no besonderen Einhalt michutz from them, was is a chilik from a guf adam. The person's hand has no other function except for the fact that it's part of his hand, a part of his body. It's the part of, right, Shmerel. Shmerel has a hand. Shmerel has eyes. Shmerel has this, but the hand is not a separate thing from Shmerel. So therefore, automatically, Zayin and Ze al in ke'echad. So therefore, they're all one. So we have no idea the connection between the Jewish people, the deep connection that there is between the Jewish people. Or at first glance, it's not understood. Vibalt is the Alter Rebbe, because the first Rebbe of Chabad explained that the Jewish people are not just together, and they are not just unified, but they are one, like one. Vi alle Yidden Zayin and Kumo Echad, like the Jews are just one big body. Was atis achdus, that this unity is a sachtifa. This is much, much deeper than the unity from Achadim, from being together. And so lieb was darf sagen lachadim und mavar sein is kula tzarichim zelazeh, that each one needs one the other, und noch marich sein then bir a mashal from rosh and raglaim. What does the Alter Rebbe do? It says the Jewish people are not just together, yachad, they're also la'achadim, they're also unified. And not only are they unified, but they're one body. So the Rebbe asked the question, listen, what do you have to have this thing about unified for? Just say the Jewish people are not just together, they are one body. Leave out the thing of being unified. They're one body. If they're one body, for sure they're unified. What's unified mean? Unified means that they're separate things, but they're all unified in a common goal or whatever. Right? A common, the idea. So if the Jews are not just unified, a common idea, they're much more than that. They're one body. So that's it. That includes the fact that they're separate and that they're unified. So just say that the Jewish people are not just together, they're one body, and automatically you know that they're unified. Muzman Zogam, we have to say, as says, there must be something good about being unified. Separate things that are unified, some way is better than being one unit, a body. Chach as Allah because all the limbs together, Zayin and Ein Keper, are one body. But from deswegen, nevertheless, is the shleimus from a kerper. When is the completion of a body? Durch dem was hat in sich verschiedene ramach. The fact that a person has different limbs. In other words, when you look at the Jews as one big body, it means that they're all one and that there's one unit, and that everybody essentially is not separate. They're not really separate. They're just one part of a one big body. Says the Rebbe, that's very nice, but let's not devaluate the importance of difference. Let's not make a slight of the importance that everyone is unique and separate from everybody else. And that we just have a common goal. Uniqueness is a very, very important thing. Un oibes volt in im. Volt in im. Gefällt der inyan prati. If there was missing that detail from ein Ever, from one limb, Walter done nit gewen kein guf shalem. Is not a complete body, right? A person gets one ear cut off, earlobe. Earlobe. Your ears are not necessary. They don't need the earlobe. You really need it. But the fact is, if it gets cut off, a person is not complete. Something is missing. Because the limbs, muzen haben the verschiedenkeit, they have to be different from ein Ever, lagabi dat zweiter, from one limb to the other, is da maila. So therefore, there's a big advantage to being separate, than being one. Ka'echad, if the Jews are one, it means is the tochen of panimi, the inner job, the inner meaning of each and every limb. It's the same thing. Namely, the main thing is nidda, not this. In vos is andrish from its fater. The main emphasis on the limbs will not be so much on what they are different from one the other, nor does vos is a tile. It's just a part of the body. Same thing the Jewish people. If we say the Jewish people are one big body, so then the main thing is that every Jew is a part of this one unit, which is called Am Yisrael, right? Like it says how does it say in the Torah? My son, my firstborn, Israel. But God said to Moses, go into Paro and say, my son, my chosen one. In this case, it means chosen. My son, my chosen one, Israel. Singular. It doesn't say my sons. All the Jewish people are the son of God. One big body. It says, good. Okay, that's very nice, very impressive. And it's also true, and it unifies us. But that sort of takes away from the importance of each individual. If you say that they're all one, then you don't feel so much the external fact. Was das bleibt doch verschiedene und Abteile, that each Jew is different. Seien sie verbunden zwischen sich, you feel that they're all different. I'm sorry, that you feel that they're all the same. They're one big thing, but they're all stuck together like a puzzle, right? You put the puzzle together, you don't see the pieces anymore. Oh, look, it's a beautiful sunset over Jerusalem. When we say that the Jewish people are unified, not just that they're one, but they're unified, it means as oich chitzon is that even in this external, in their individual talents and nature, and everybody's different. In was the evorim seinen andrish, that the limbs are different one from the other, zwischen sich verbund und seinen mashlim einer des zweite, because you have to have each and every limb is different. And because of their difference, that gives them their value, not the fact that they're all part of the same body. That's very important, okay? But the main emphasis, that's emphasis by saying the Jews are one. But let's not forget that every Jew is unique. I mean, the fact is every human being is unique. But here we're talking about the Jews serving God. And the main thing is their Alter Rebbe, the Alter First Rebbe of Chabad. He takes a long explanation and what it means that the Jewish people are unified. They're all different, but they're unified. A room because in them besteht their ikar avoda, because this is the main service of God. Yeder, every Jew, via state how he is in Metzius Apratis, in his individual uniqueness. A neshama, when a goof, a soul, and a body, darv sein shuffle ruach b'fnei kadam. Therefore, you have to be humble in front of everyone. Why? Zaindik, Vesendik, because you know, as Yeder hat amayla legabiyim, that everybody somehow or other is something better than me. When darf ankommen to the tzveita, you have to come to the other person. If we say the Jewish people are one big body, so you're always looking at the one big body, you don't appreciate so much the uniqueness of everybody and also the necessity of everybody. You don't feel it so much. The main thing you're concentrating on the body of the Jewish people, the uniqueness, Klal Yisrael. But if you concentrate on the uniqueness of every Jew, then you see every Jew is something special. And if you have a Jew that doesn't do Torah and doesn't do the commandments, so you have to think, listen, this person is a unique person. This is a treasure. Obviously, I don't understand this person. I have to somehow or other really honor this person, value this person. The fact that he's not doing the Torah, he's not doing what he's supposed to do, is okay. I'll have to try to somehow or other convince him, but I have to always respect and value the uniqueness of every person, especially every Jew. And if you start to think about it, the value is an infinite value. It's a tremendous value. So, okay, you can't go crazy. Can't say, "Ooh, you are a human being. You are something special." You'll go crazy, right? There's 8 billion people, 9 billion people in the world, right? But on the other hand, you can't belittle anyone. Everyone is valuable, especially every Jew. Because the Jews had this special purpose to spread, to teach the world what God really is. Vav. Let's face it, these two types of unity of the Jewish people. This is the whole thing of Rosh Hashanah, right? Because in Rosh Hashanah, man was created, and the Jewish people, man did not do what he was supposed to. And the first one to come and fix this up, that's Abraham. Abraham came to fix up the sin, if you want to call it, of Abraham, the big mistake that Adam made. Abraham, and he gave it over to Yitzchak, and he gave it over to Yaakov. Very difficult, long task, but every Rosh Hashanah, we're brought back to that first creation and why we're being created. And now the Jewish people, they are all together. They are Abraham, they are Yitzchak, they are Yaakov, to fix up this mistake that Adam made, this division and separation and confusion. So it says the Rebbe, there's two types of unity. There's lachadim, they're unified and they are one. This depends one to the other. And by means of the Jewish people being every one being unique, but they are unified, was oich in zeri chitzonius, that even though externally they are separate and individuals, but nevertheless they are unified. Only by means of this can this level of being one be revealed. As in Zar Panim is that inside they are really only one thing. Barum oy bechitzonius volten ze gewen. And because if externally they were totally separate, volt ze nit kennen sein ein Zach bepenimis. They couldn't be one thing, they couldn't have one common goal. Their bittul chitzoni, the external negation, das was ze seinen makabel zemizeh, the fact that every Jew can receive one from the other, the uniqueness of everybody. So in other words, there's two things. One is that we're all the same, we're part of the same body. That's talked about in the Tanya in 32nd chapter. Then there's another reason to love every Jew, because we're all different. Everybody's different from me. Everybody has something that I don't have. And on the other end, I have something that everybody doesn't have. I also have to contribute to others. This is a vessel to bitl panim. As jeder einer, that every Jew in sein ganzen Sach nit he is not the whole picture, nor der inyan haklali. I'm sorry, let's do this again. Little bit. As jeder einer, that each one is sein ganzen Sach nit the whole purpose that I live is not for myself, nor der inyan klali, but I'm living for the whole general principle, the whole general truth. Right? In other words, everyone is separate and I am unique. I am different from everybody else, but my whole purpose is to live for this unity, this wholeness. By means of this, then we can reveal the true inner essence, namely that the Jews are one. That this will also come in an external way. Then each one will give completion one to the other. Because if the main thing is that every single Jew should be panimi, if the whole thing was just the inside of every Jew, that namely that they were all exactly the same, Volter Tzalib, Ot dem Prat, was is sein Iker, nit gedarft ankommen zum Sveiter. Because if everybody was exactly the same, then nobody would have to have anybody else. You wouldn't need another person. So there couldn't be really true unity among them. Nor weil panimis, because in the inside, because in the inside all the Jews are really one. Therefore, it's also the external Eintalt and the external content. Darfen ze mekabel zayin zemizet. Because every Jew inside is exactly the same, but on the other hand, we look and we see everybody is different. So what are we supposed to do? We have to understand that, it must be that God made everybody different in order because everybody has something good, something special. In some ways, that's the main thing, to receive the uniqueness of the other person to myself. So this will then express this true unity of the Jewish people. This will bring unity to the world, because what's the problem in the world? There's so much variation in the world, and things are changing all the time. And a lot of times things happen that we don't want to have happen. They're against what we want. And from that, you come all sorts of prejudice and bigotry and anger and hatred and wars and things like that, because you just can't stand something else. You can't stand anything different from them yourself. So says the Rebbe, therefore the Jewish people have these two aspects. One is that internally they're all exactly the same. They're all part of one big body. But on the other hand, this unity they have inside has to express itself on the outside also. That all these differences and these variations and these unexpected surprises that happen and these things that wreck our comfort zone, that's all part of this unity. To accept and appreciate the differences that each and every person has. To appreciate the fact that everybody's not like me. So from the inner unity can come an outer harmony. And only by means of manifesting this outer harmony and appreciating the differences in everybody can the inner unity be expressed. That's why God created such a diverse world in order that we should make it harmonious. It's like in an orchestra, right? In an orchestra, you ever hear these orchestras? They have these massive mammoth, orchestras. This works by Mahler, and these people have the orchestra is like 500 players, and then you have a choir that's another 300 people or something like that, and you see them all standing up, and suddenly it comes out okay, right? Comes out beautiful, and everybody's doing something different. Everyone's doing something different. All the things, and it comes at first these things. It's just total cacophony, and suddenly all of a sudden you realize, hey, this is really something amazing, because there's a common point between all of them. And the common point in this case is that they're all musicians. They're playing for people who like music. And that comes out in all these other, with the Jewish people, we are all part of the Creator. We're the representatives of the Creator, and we're all exactly the same in that aspect. But God created each one of us different. And like the orchestra, when we connect to the Creator, then the differences between us become harmonious. And that's going to be the idea of Rosh Hashanah and the unity of all the Jewish people, which is expressed in Atem Nitzavim. This is the blessing that God blesses this month with. What do we say? The Jewish people, they bless every coming month. On the last Shabbat of the preceding month, so they bless the ensuing month, and which is not the case in Tishrei. The Tishrei is not blessed by the previous month. God blesses it. How does he bless it? By when we read Atem Nitzavim, the Jewish people are one. And this oneness is the biggest blessing of all, and this will bring a blessing to the whole entire world. Now, let us say the Yom Yom. Hasidic doctrine, Torah Chassid, okay, demands that if you want to reprove somebody else, you want to, tell somebody else their faults. So first of all, it says you have to fix up your own fingernails. You have to fix up your own claws. Sometimes you can see somebody doing something wrong, you can really get into it. You really enjoy telling people how wrong they are, especially because you see that they clearly are wrong. And now all of a sudden, you're certain. Finally, you're certain of something. You can tell, and you can really get into it. You can pour out all of your bad into the other person. I just want to say this. I mean, I don't know if it's a point, but I remember I was in university. I think I'd finished university already. I learned at the University of Michigan, and I was sitting in this big sort of place. I think they called it the Diag or whatever they called it. And he sat on the grass. It was summer day. And this guy came along and he was walking his dog. His dog, the guy was a big guy and the dog was sort of small. And the dog he saw a squirrel and he ran off after the squirrel. It was on a long leash. And the man with the, I had not really analyzed life very much. I learned philosophy in university, which basically gives you zero understanding of life, or it gives you the wrong understanding of it. Zero would have been better. Anyway, so here's this guy and this guy's dog, and his dog lights out after this squirrel. He's running after the squirrel, and the owner, I don't remember he caught the dog before he got the squirrel, or he pulled him back. And the owner, he had a newspaper that was rolled up, and he started screaming at this dog and beating the dog with this newspaper. And he was saying, "You sadist, you sadist, you sadist." He was beating the dog. I thought, wow, that's really weird. I mean, the dog was just acting like a dog. This guy, he's the one that's the saddest, and he's taking it out on the dog. He's taking it out on his dog. The same thing. Okay, a trained dog, a tamed dog, a normal, whatever it is, domesticated dog is not supposed to go running after squirrels. Okay, good. Not supposed to. So he's got a small point, right? He has a point, but he really unleashed all of his, character faults on this dog. You say this, you said it. I remember I looked at it. I didn't know whether to laugh or to what. It was just so, I thought at first the guy was joking around. No, he was terrible. It's the same thing. If you see something wrong in somebody else, so it's a very good thing to tell the person they're doing something wrong. It's a very good thing. But you have to know how, and you have to know when, and you have to know the way, right, to do it. How, you have to know exactly what to say, and you have to know how to say it. You have to know when to say it, where to say it. So, but especially the thing is be sure that you're not just attacking somebody else because, oh, now you have a chance to take out your inner frustrations on the other person. So before you go and tell somebody else what's wrong with them, first of all, take care of your own claws. It says the forces of evil, they seize a person by the fingernails. That's why we wash our fingers in the morning. Every stab, every time you stab somebody, you said something to me, I'll show you, you call me a fool, I'll show you you're a fool. Every time you do that, it says that's called sitra achra. After the nails are cut, then you should wash your hands. What does it mean? That you really want to reprove somebody, you want to tell somebody something's wrong, you have to make sure you're doing it because God really doesn't want this person to do this thing, not because I don't want to. So you have to do it in a nice way, in a pleasant way. As we'll explain, God willing, tomorrow. Have a good day with Moshiach now.